Well, hello, good morning, and welcome to Sideshow's very own art gallery tour. We are so excited to be here with you guys in this space. This is a really elevated display. We've really transformed this space into a gallery, so you guys can see these museum quality pieces of artwork and not only get a sense of the really collectible factor of these pieces, but also how they might fit into your collection, because we have so many fandoms to show you. I'm Amy Chase, and I'm joined today by Paul Hernandez.
Hello.
And we will be your gallery curators. We will be giving you a guided tour of this space.
We'll do our best.
We'll do our best. We've dressed the part. We are patrons of the arts. Now, we are at the tail end of an event week dedicated solely to Sideshow's art prints. Paul, do you want to tell them a little bit more about that?
I sure do. We are at, again, the tail end of our very first art print Expo. It started on Monday and it does end today. We're not done with shows and events today. We've got a little bit more later, but for everything that is the Art Print Expo 2022, go to side.show/Expo22, and for all of the art that you're going to see and more, head over to side.show/art. That's going to take you to our dedicated webpage for all of our art prints. Seriously, we are having so much fun this week, but again, we are not done. You are at the art gallery today at, I believe, 3 p.m. We've got an interview with Orlando Arocena and then a show at 5 p.m., Amy.
I actually believe that interview is at 2 p.m.
Oh, 2 p.m.
All times are listed in Pacific. And again, if you go to side.show/Expo22, you can see our general event overview.
Yes.
So, but stick around, because I mean, we're at the start of an incredible tour going on right now. You guys are going to see a lot of pieces throughout a lot of your favorite fandoms, some scary characters, but I do want to also warn you, there will be a point in the show we will let you know where a couple of the paintings or illustrations have a little bit more mature content. We are celebrating artists like Frazetta and Olivia de Barardinis, a queen of pinup art. So we will have a little bit of mature content. It's all very tasteful, but we want to let you know just in case your comfort level is averse to that. But we've got so many characters from movies and comics and shows that you love. So Paul, where do we want to get started?
There's a lot here, but I think let's make mine Marvel.
All right.
Amy, let's check
take
it out.
On over this way, we are going to join the Marvel Universe with an iconic couple. Right here, we've got the WandaVision fine art print by artist Greg Ruth, who has done many art prints throughout the collectibles world, but this is our first time working with him at Sideshow.
Get these bees off of, oh no, those are actually on the print. I mean, not only are there bees on this print, but there are so many Easter eggs on this. I mean, I know we've talked about this previously, but I also love the sort of dichotomy that you have here of the beautiful, serene scene with Viz and Wanda there, and then all of the rubble underneath outside of that television.
Yes, the colors in this are so beautiful. I mean, they're really kind of morning time pastels, and we've got that stark contrast in the middle with the black and white
Morning is right.
television. Yes, lots of that. And we even have some kind of, I love the like fourth wall breaking element of the fact that their storybook wedding is falling out of the television and again kind of causing all of this destruction. You guys could spend a long time looking at all of those fabulous details that Greg Ruth has put into this piece.
Yeah.
And it is so detailed, it almost looks like a screen capture. I mean, I know
Absolutely.
old television sets aren't necessarily ones for screenshots, but this is an illustration. There is so much detail throughout this piece. And then up top, we do have that official Marvel Studios WandaVision logo. This is an officially licensed print as well.
And not only the detail in the print, but look at the gold inlay that accents the entire print itself.
Yes.
So beautiful.
So what you guys are seeing is a custom framed edition. This is available unframed from Sideshow Art Prints, but also if you choose to order these prints when they are offered framed, they take the guesswork out of it. We work with Parker Jordan Fine Art to create custom designs for these pieces. There's hanging hardware already installed, so you just have to pick where it goes on the wall. And as Paul mentioned, these beautiful custom double matte designs with a carefully chosen color to offset and really keep your eyes within the piece and complement that as well.
Yeah, this is art persevering, is what we'll call it. I'm sure Greg would love that. But we did talk to Greg a little bit earlier this week. Again, you can see all of the contents when we interviewed him earlier on.
Yes, so again, this is the WandaVision fine art print, a beautiful, beautiful couple from a groundbreaking television series, and that is available on our site right now. Now, we have some more iconic couples, but we're going to jump over to the comic book universe with this beautiful Gambit and Rogue fine art print by artist Rich Lung. Now, this is actually the HD aluminum version that you are seeing here. So what you saw previously was a giclée print. This is an HD aluminum metal print, one of the various offerings that we have for our pieces. And not every single print is always offered as one of these, so you need to keep an eye out for those because it's
yeah.
got this beautiful glass-like surface, but that is a fine art metal piece.
Absolutely, and while some of our other art prints, Amy, and I know but for everyone out there, while some of them do, they have an edition size of 200-300. Usually these metal art prints are like 50. There's only 50 or 75 because they are. It is such an intricate process to make this piece of art. I mean, it looks wonderful, and again, what you're seeing in front of you, again, I liked how you had put it before. Sugar, Cajun spice, and isn't this nice?
Yes.
Because I mean, there's so many details here, specifically for if you're a fan of the couple, if you're a fan of the characters
and who
individually.
isn't?
Yeah, I mean, what would be wrong with you if you were? I mean, it would be more on you. I mean, and then of course you get a bonus. You get a sentinel in there.
You get a couple of sentinels all throughout this piece, but of course, everybody loves seeing the sentinels getting destroyed. There is so much dynamic action in this piece, and one of my favorite parts is that the way that this is captured in the high definition, because HD aluminum stands for high definition. Yeah. You can see all of the blur lines going on throughout their powers. I mean, there's scraps flying, there's cards flying, and it actually makes me dizzy looking at Gambit's cards because my eyes want to correct and find the sharp lines, but they've captured that blur so beautifully.
That aluminum really helps with the motion because these characters are so kinetic in general. That, I mean, it makes it's dizzying, absolutely. And I love that Rich Lung, who is the artist on this piece, on this Gambit and Rogue, he has worked on the statues as well. So you're getting, basically from the well to your art print here. But, we're gonna move along to, speaking of pairs, we have a pair of beautiful art prints here. Amy, I'm such a huge fan of these.
This is such a cool style because where we just saw a really comics-based illustrated style, this does have illustration elements, but it has graphic design elements to it. It's very technical, graphical. This is the Iron Man art print and then Sideshow exclusive Iron Man blue variant by artist Dolly. And these are on our website right now. The Sideshow exclusive variant is highly limited edition.
Oh, yeah.
Do we want to start kind of over there with
Sure,
that one?
Definitely. So this is the Sideshow exclusive variant, limited to only 100. And I mean, there's just so many great details. I do love the blue on this. So this has got the official Marvel Studios Iron Man logo, and you also have basically Tony working through the Mark I and the Mark III, and you can see that in the outer rings, there are various iterations of this Iron Man suit. And you get the iconic scene of how the Marvel Universe started, and also how it sort of ended in Endgame, with that ding, because he built this in a cave
with a box of scraps.
He sure did. And this is the blue variant, again, very reminiscent of that Iron Man, that Mark II that you see, that blueprint style. And then once we get over by Amy.
Yes, this is the 400 edition Iron Man art print. Now we have some of those iconic golds and reds throughout this piece, but you still get that nice blue and the stratified layers, again, like Paul said, of the kind of technical blueprints. I love that we've got the Vitruvian Iron Man down here, as well as some of the kind of negative space where we see the inverse versions of his designs. And as we've been pointing out with the Giclée prints, they've got this beautiful custom double matte design. And so when you're choosing which one is right for your collection, maybe you're going for limited edition factor, in which case you'll want to check out that Sideshow exclusive. But maybe you're going for color matching in your collection, depending on which Iron Man suits you have. We do have these framed editions have that consideration of, do you want the red outline or the blue outline? So when picking these pieces, I mean, they stand alone fantastically, but you also want to think about how they fit maybe in collaboration, in dialogue with the rest of your collection.
Absolutely.
They're just such a cool pairing. And again, these Sideshow exclusives are only available at side.show/art. And the other prints, I mean, they are Sideshow art prints, but we have wholesalers and distributors that you may be able to find at your local comic book store. But if you want to get it straight from the source, side.show/art for the Iron Man fine art prints by Dolly. These are each sold separately. Now, up next, another iconic pairing, but this one's a little bit love-hate relationship.
Yeah, they're so close together. Love and hate are, they're a fickle thing. Now this is the Spider-Man versus Green Goblin by Derek Chu.
Yes, also known as DCWJ. Yes. That's his artist tag. This, again, you guys are seeing is the HD aluminum print. There is so much action in this piece. And I love that we're a little bit above the action.
Right.
You can see based on the trajectory of Spider-Man's web and all of the explosions and the angles, we're really up high in the city here. Maybe Spider-Man is rescuing us from the top of a building. Who knows what's going on, but it's just so much fun.
Even up top, you can see the motion blur there, and it sort of carries over into Goblin's hat a little bit, and then it gets really focused and dialed in by Spider-Man. It's really drawing the attention of, it puts you in a point of perspective of where you should be. And I did challenge Amy earlier. There are 7 Goblin bombs in this photo, so I'm challenging you to find all of them. You're missing, I can always tell you, because it took me a long time, I've missed one for the longest time.
Oh my goodness. Well, I will have to go back through after we've had this lovely gallery tour. But again, I want to call attention to that HD high definition. Something you guys can see here is all of the texturing on Peter Parker's suit.
Oh, yeah.
Plus, I love the way that his lenses are reflecting so many cool colors. I mean, of course, there's the iconic just big white eyes Spidey. But when you're thinking of protective lenses in a superhero suit, I really love being able to see the rest of the image reflected in that, especially on the reflective surface like the metal print. Just beautifully makes his costume shine.
Absolutely. And speaking of that costume, it's my favorite version. Like that color scheme, those big bug spider eyes with the black sort of like overlay. And I love the Goblin costume. I mean, it looks so great. Like these are exactly, when I close my eyes, and I do dream in art prints, by the way, just so in case anyone was wondering, these are what I think of when I think Goblin and I think Spider-Man.
Yes, just a very classic comic book representation of these characters.
Yeah.
These prints also, I want to point out that the HD aluminum prints come framed
Yep.
with this really cool, what's called a floating frame. It has a bit of a visual gutter. There's a negative space so the frame doesn't go all the way up to the edge of the print, and it creates this floating effect for you. So you guys can see that there with this piece.
Visual Gutter is also the name of the ska band that will be playing the art gallery later, everyone. But staying within this Spider-Verse for everyone, we are moving on to a piece that I am very, very excited about. This is the Miles Morales print by Tauren Clarke. Who
Such a fabulous artist.
Such a fabulous artist, such an interesting person. Again, we are in the middle of our Art Print Expo, Sideshow/Expo 22. I did get the opportunity to interview him about this piece, and there's just so many details. One I know, Amy, in this piece that you love is that over his right hand, that Dazzler.
Yes, I mean, I'm always a sucker for looking at, especially even in comic book panels, when there's in-world signage and advertising, and of course we've got so many of the iconic New York billboards just lighting up the sky here. Also, again, with that really cool lighting. I love the pink highlights on this side of Miles from that Stark Solutions banner. And then we've got the blue from MJ's lipstick ad over here. And it's just so much fun and so much detail. And as you mentioned with the artist, he actually is the cover artist for the main Miles Morales book right now at Marvel. So this is an original illustration, but it is in that style and from an artist who absolutely knows Miles.
And, you know, another thing that, you know, me and Amy as huge comic book fans, and a lot of you, I assume, as huge comic book fans, it's always interesting to see how artists draw the webbing.
Yes.
I mean, this is more of like, it's tensile, like you can see the webbing around the webbing. I mean, and we just saw Derek Chu's iteration of it with the previous art print. It's more wispy. I love this version. It just looks more solid.
It reminds me almost of like metal cables that you'd see holding a bridge together.
Right.
Really lending that strength to a very nimble and athletic superhero character. And yeah, we've got the really fun hyperdynamic angle, whereas with the other Spider-Man piece, we were kind of above the action. This is directly below the action, looking straight up into the city lights at that awesome, super dynamic leaping pose. Now this is the Giclée edition, again, available unframed and framed of the Miles Morales Spider-Man fine art print by artist Tauren Clarke. All right, well, we are jumping across universes now and headed over to the DC side of things. And
out of the multiverse into the omniverse.
What a better piece to start with than this. This is the Saving Grace Superman print by artist Christopher Meadows, who you may recognize. We did a previous collaboration with his Someone to Believe In.
And we interviewed him this week as well.
A fabulous artist and known around the Superman fan community as one of the kind of de facto artists.
Yeah, and specifically because I think he taps into what a lot of, you know, tried and true Superman fans love, is they love this version. The real pop of color suit, that bright blue, that iconic yellow, the trunks. I mean, I don't know, let us know in the chats, are you pro or anti-trunks on Superman? Personally,
debate.
I'm anti-Trunks. I like the new 52 version, but this is also, it's iconic.
Yes, and as you mentioned, I love the cool colors of his suit, contrasting here, because we've got that hot fire. I mean,
Yeah.
especially as it gets so dark up there, you can kind of feel the air that's thick with
yeah.
smoke. But Christopher Meadows has done such a great job of making Superman this beacon of hope with that cool blue, the undertones in his skin, and he is being heated by the warmth, but you don't really see any of that warmth in the child because she is being protected, and we've got those kind of blue undertones of the skin. It just a really great piece, and the title is a fun double entendre as well. A saving grace is someone's redeeming quality, and of course Superman is a hero. He believes in the redeeming qualities of humanity, and he is the child's saving grace. But as the artist has also stated, a little behind the scenes tidbit, the baby's name is also Grace,
Yes.
so Superman is literally saving Grace.
And this may be controversial. This is a beautiful picture, but Clarke, get her out of there.
Yeah.
The building's on fire.
It's a lovely moment. It's a picture-perfect moment.
She's wrapped in the same cape like he was when he came to Earth from Krypton, but we've got the photo that'll go up on his gram, but Clarke, it's time to get her out of there. But, out of Metropolis and into Gotham, we've got another beautiful art print.
From the fire, we're going into the rain, and this is the Night Rain, but spelled, like Reign of Terror, by Bill Sienkiewicz, who is a legendary comic book artist, of course. And this is such a fun and unique Batman piece. I mean, we've got that rain that's almost like the oppressive Gotham environment. Like it is always raining in his city, whether or not literally it's that idea of the crime, just the kind of washing out the streets.
And I love even, we've gotten to look at these a couple of times, but even noticing just new details now. Not only that sort of maybe cityscape, again, it could be police sirens, it could be any manner of things that are behind the Dark Knight there. But look at the rain dripping off his nose on the cowl.
Yeah.
What an awesome detail. We can see if maybe Michael can get in there a little bit later.
We've all had the rain drip off our face now and
But
then.
I didn't look like that.
No, didn't look that cool.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, no, and as you pointed out, I mean, we've got the dark and the cool colors, and there's a lot of blue in Batman's suit, but getting those little pops of orange over his shoulder, a little fleck of red, just really breaks up the visual grit that is Sienkiewicz's style.
Absolutely.
Just really cool, and that is captured here, just a very high fidelity recreation of his artwork, getting all of that visual kind of static and grain that is in his illustration.
And I do love that all of the Sienkiewicz pieces that you get, hand-signed.
Yes, so if you don't want to wait in a long line at a convention for of course, hot ticket creator, if you order the Night Rain print, which is super limited edition, I believe only 100 pieces made available, these are all hand-signed by the artist. So that's a great collectible factor to this piece as well, and you can get it framed or unframed, so you can check that out in your collection.
Yeah, such an incredible piece. I mean, again, he doesn't do wrong. He doesn't miss.
No, just a fabulous, fabulous piece to pair with any Batman collectibles you might have. And again, these pieces make great backdrops to your collection, but are also beautiful and worthy of standing on their own. All right, now...
Speaking of standing on their own.
A one-woman show.
A one-woman show.
I am a sucker for pieces that look like old-time advertisements or just little like posters, like movie posters. And so we've got here the Zatanna Mistress of Magic piece by John Keaven, and this is like a vaudeville show almost advertising her fabulous magic act.
Yeah, I mean, when she's not, getting Constantine out of a jam, or she's not just
constantly,
doing things in reverse. She's got to make a living. So this is like an ad for her show that you'd see. I can imagine it like on the streets of like Bloodhaven maybe, and it's just sort of like peeling off of the rain. And this is exactly like sort of what you would see. And there's again a lot of really fun details in this. Maybe even up top you can see sort of, this is first a frame in a frame.
Yes.
I love just the way it just draws the attention. Like you can't help but look at Zatanna the whole time. And with the little tentacles, that could be the Beast of Shadowcrest that she has underneath, her home, where she keeps all of her magical accoutrements, or even, her most dangerous spells.
Yes, and then we've got the fun advertisement, of course, because she is the mistress of magic. Behold, astonishing illusions and daring feats of the mind. So this is one of those pieces that also incorporates a little bit of textual design elements, and it's just so much fun. There is a Sideshow exclusive variant to this. It is currently waitlist only on the website, but you can check that out if you go to side.show/art if you want to see that. But otherwise, this version is available. I believe it is in stock on our website right now, and you can get it custom framed again with that beautiful frame in a frame and the double matte design, or you can get it unframed for your collection. Limited edition Zatanna, Mistress of Magic.
And you get 2 super buff little demons. How fun is that? I mean, again, this is such a beautiful print, but staying again in the realm of DC, someone who needs no introduction at all.
But before we get into it, I do want to just say, if you're just joining us, welcome. This is Sideshow's art gallery tour. We have gone through the Marvel section already, and we are currently in the DC section. But this is an elevated gallery space showing you some of the original Sideshow offerings, as well as distributed art pieces that we carry at art.sideshow.com or side.show/art. Many ways for you to get your fine art prints. And these are great collectibles, great collection accents to pair with figures and statues you may have, but also great standalone pieces. Now, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on your moment, sir.
I wouldn't dare.
Do you want to introduce our next guest?
Yes, this is the, I believe, the Clown Prince of Crime, as it's called, by Marco Mastrazzo.
Yes, in collaboration with Giuseppe Camuncoli, who, if you're a DC Comics reader, you may recognize as a frequent colorist and collaborator in DC Comics.
Yeah, a real Joker of all trades, that guy. I mean, again, this is such a beautiful print. This is the wrapped canvas version that you're seeing here. It's sort of got that like infinity frame, or like that you said, that artisanal gutter on the bottom.
Yeah, the little floating frame. Yes, so this is a gallery wrapped canvas print. So that means it goes all the way around the edges to the back of the piece. It is mounted in its frame, and this is a breathing color life canvas, which just really captures all of that great detail. And as opposed to the sleek glass-like surface of an HD print, this has the visual texture of canvas, which I think lends great effect with that kind of mottled background we have. That's almost it's got a gaseous quality like the Joker toxin, fading into that darkness of the background.
I mean, and again, like there is just that darkness. You've got the homage there to Harley, a double homage sort of to Harley Quinn. It is also very strange to see him holding the mallet. It, as you would think with the Joker, it makes you very uneasy.
His posture especially is just so, like, my eye keeps going back to that hand, because I mean, how many of you hold your hands like that? But it's such a scary posture, but also a very clownish kind of curve to the body here. And then the thing that freaks me out the most is just the way in which you can see how far back this kind of marbled floor goes, and there is nothing else in the scene with him. He's in this giant empty space. You can hear the laughter echoing.
And I mean, and speaking of hearing, you just like look at his face. Marco did such a great job, and they did such a great job of coloring, just sort of like the evilness, like the red on his teeth, like you don't know, is that blood? Is that lipstick? I mean, it's just something, it's a quality that the Joker always has, like with that green, nauseous looking wispy hair that he has, you know, with the gaseous look. It could be a spotlight, it could be the Joker toxin, you never know.
Yeah, and that mottled version of the makeup. I mean, I love a clean-faced Joker, but there's something about the makeup fading, whether he's been sweating or didn't take the time to apply it fully. It's just so terrifying because he's just very slapdash and not the debonair Joker that we expect from, you know, some like animated appearances. Now, we've got more scary clowns coming up. So, I mean,
what was that? You wanted more scary clowns? Well, boy, howdy, do we have one.
We've reached our quota.
we have officially reached our quota. Yeah, this is the You'll Float 2 art print from It, Chapter 2 by Juan Ramos. I mean, is this your scary clown? If you had to,
you know, yes, I do really like Pennywise. I really love what they did with these movies, and one of the things that I love about this, kind of harkening back to that Batman piece where we had mostly blue, but maybe like a couple of tones of color here. Everything here is red except for those eyes, and once you kind of realize that and you look at that, you kind of can't stop looking at it.
Yeah, it's incredibly terrifying. And you've also got above him, you know, you've got the cracked makeup on his forehead there.
Yeah, great details captured
wispy,
in this clay.
Weird hair that he's got. What's with clowns and this hair? And most importantly, you can see the sort of like spider legs, or I don't think they're tendrils, but they all sort of draw the focus in. They're all sort of pointing to something, really drawing your attention to the center there of who is in the middle of that balloon.
Yes, and of course we've got the Losers Club with the Nebolt house all lit up, and then we've got that perspective of the sewer where Pennywise is kind of lurking and waiting in this cycle, and there's so many visual indicators of roundness, cycles. So we've got the soft edges of the balloon, we've got the spider legs pointing back up. Even his nose, which is highlighted and almost underlit there, kind of looks like an arrow pointing back down, and we've got the drool coming back in, and it all keeps your eyes in the picture. But if you can actually get your eyes up and past all that stuff, look how many balloons just keep going back and back and back.
It's too many balloons.
Too many balloons.
Way too many balloons. And again, this is the You'll Flow 2 piece by Wanda Ramos. Again, so many great textures. Now we're going to get to another piece that has some incredible textures on it, but we did warn you earlier, there were going to be some pieces that may lean more into the adult content. So this is your warning. 3, 2, 1. All right. Let's get to it.
A very tasteful nude in the art world. Of course, we've got Frazetta's Catgirl, which I loved learning about this piece this week. Yes, it not only is iconic and underwent some evolutions in its time, and this is the final version of the image that the artist created. It was his favorite. He refused to part with the original. And I mean, for good reason. It is so beautifully detailed, but now, thanks to our collaboration with the Frank Frazetta Museum, collectors can bring this piece home. So while they might not be able to purchase the original, which I believe is on display in the Frazetta Art Museum, you can purchase this incredible high fidelity recreation.
And you know, we were fortunate enough to go to the museum, and we interviewed Frank and Lori, Frank Jr. and Lori, and the first thing we asked was like, was it really his favorite? And absolutely. It was his favorite piece for so many reasons. I mean, you also get the Panthers in there as well. He brings his art into his art constantly, but he's always got that way of drawing your attention to the subject of the piece with light.
We've got that beautiful, beautiful kind of where the dappled sunlight comes through the jungle canopy, and we see her lit up. She's got some beautiful musculature as well. And then as you can finally tear your eyes away from her, you see how many jungle cats are lurking and keeping their claws flexed and at the ready.
I didn't even notice that one in the middle there, like right over her leg.
I think there's like a rib cage
and a rib cage
right down there, which I love that she seems totally at ease with these creatures, and they seem protective of her as well. And as you mentioned with the texture, you guys can see some really cool light effects going in on the grasses and the kind of moss on these logs. Traditionally, Frazetta would thin his paints out to make them dry faster, especially a lot of deadlines, a high in demand artist. But this piece, he loved going over, and he kept the paints thicker such that they actually lifted off the canvas, had some dimension to them. And you can kind of see that in the way that there's highlight and shadow where there isn't really anywhere else in this image. Now, what you are seeing here is the Deluxe framed edition, which is available to you if you love this piece as much as Frazetta did. This Deluxe framed edition comes with the silver antique Baroque finish, as well as that beaded silver matte design around here. And one last thing I'd love to point out about these Frazetta pieces is that all of the Frazetta pieces available on our website, a portion of the proceeds go to help preserve the artist's original works, keep that museum thriving and functioning. So if you are interested in bringing home some of that legacy, you can also help preserve that for future generations.
All right, well now we're moving from one beautiful caricature to another.
Yes, of course, an iconic pinup pioneer, Betty Page, as done by Olivia de Berardinis, also just known as Olivia.
Right.
Just her name alone is enough, but this is the Betty Page's Eyes. This is a very famous piece of Olivia's, and this is the Sideshow exclusive variant. So if you've ever seen this piece before, you're seeing it in a new way. We've got this beautiful blue and yellow gradient that is the Sideshow exclusive edition, limited to only 175 pieces.
Yeah, I mean, and it's such a fun and flirty piece. You know, like it's so fascinating to see what, I mean, Olivia's done so much pinup. So for her to really kind of challenge herself and do this type of piece.
And she's done a lot of Betty Page as well, like just a lot of that, but every single time she finds
never
something
quite like this.
Right, something new to celebrate. And again, it's a bit of a pun title, of course, but we do have Betty Page's Eyes just so beautifully just blue, matching with that background that fades into the nice gradient. And I'm kind of obsessed with the way that Olivia renders hair because some
I
of
was
her
just gonna talk
lines,
about that.
like you can see in the armbands, are like really crisp, and just the way she does the hair, it's so soft and silken.
I mean, and the confidence. Half of this print is hair.
Yeah.
Half of it. I mean, so each bit of hair is so, is so beautifully done, is so beautifully painted. You can almost see where the brushstrokes would be, and then you're like, well, no, this has got to be a photo at points. I mean, I love when artists do that, when it's points of it are super rendered because it draws your eye there, and other parts are, are more sketched, which we'll see a little bit more later.
And then you watch her process, and you see her build it from a blank canvas, and you go, oh, okay. Like it just feels like you know she can do that.
And it's just like the
incredible
kisses
design.
of pink that are in this as well are so beautiful.
Now, as we mentioned earlier with some of the other artists, Olivia's pieces are all hand signed by the artist. It also features Olivia's signature embossing as a seal of authenticity, and these pieces are accompanied by a certificate of authenticity as well.
Yeah.
So again, just no more collectible factor, I think, could be added to a piece like this. Sideshow exclusive, limited edition. And you've got that hand-signed element.
Oh, absolutely. Now, it wouldn't be an art gallery without staying within the wonderful world of Olivia. We've got another piece. This is the Banshee piece, an iconic piece that I wasn't super familiar with until you sort of brought up that this is an iconic piece.
Yes, this piece has long origins with Olivia, and it is a pin-up piece, but it's got this really fun monstrous element to it. So a banshee is a woman in folklore who screams to kind of signal death, and to hear her is to kind of, be warned that you might be next. So this is the model Julie Strain who posed for Olivia like this, and it was a physically impossible pose to achieve, but Olivia was able to kind of meld the elements together, get what she wanted out of this. It was created in 1996 for her Stiletto Heroes exhibition as an advertisement, and then it went on to become a cover of Heavy Metal magazine.
Nice.
And now it is available for fans as a Sideshow art print. Again, limited edition to 175 pieces, hand-signed with a certificate of authenticity. It's so much fun, and I'm not usually a pinup collector, but this falls into my monstrous category that I love. I mean, and it's so beautiful.
And I just, especially like in lore or whatever, you've ever heard the name Banshee, wherever you've heard that, I don't ever associate Banshees with having wings as well.
Yeah.
That's just such a very unique take on this character, the character already looks wildly dangerous. Everything from, her stilettos to look at the spikes on her knees, on her wrists.
It's giving me Xenomorph vibes with that the kind of rounded elements, but also those spiked bits. So bizarre, super cool, impossible heels. And then we've got that skeletal dragon tattoo. That was kind of Olivia's own interpretation of what a dragon skeleton might look like.
And we were mentioning, where Olivia chooses to over-render or leave a little sketched. And you've got sort of her skin texture up to her face, which looks hyper detailed. And then right in front of her face, you can see just the wisps of sketched hair.
Yeah, and even those feathers
wings,
have big, broad brush strokes that you can really see in great detail. And then we've got that nice, cool, grainy background. Very, again, with cool as in visually, very cool, but also the tones and colors. This is a very unique addition to any room. You've got that silver matte on the frame as well. Just a very muted, understated color palette for a character who is screaming to let you know that death is near. I mean, I can't think of any better encapsulation of Olivia's signature style of beauty and also terror.
It's just our face anytime we see an Olivia print.
Now, speaking of someone who, when they open their mouth, death is soon to follow.
And terror.
This is the Dragon's Breath
Yes.
print by Greg Rutkowski. Now, this is an original design by Rutkowski, but he is a prolific artist for Magic the Gathering, Dungeons and Dragons. Maybe you have some of his own art cards in your decks. Lots of dragon art for those franchises, but this is a totally original vision of kind of the essential fantasy
and I
landscape.
love anytime there are original, whether sci-fi or in this case fantasy, because you can really put it anywhere. I mean, you can really pair this with anything you'd like. We have the original Dragon Slayer statue. This would look killer right behind it. Maybe that's the Dragon Slayer right there. I mean, and again, just the uses of color and just how the color is the center. It's bright, and it just sort of blackens out as we get closer to the edge of that sort of hollowed out frame again.
Yeah, and you get those real subtle hints where the smoke is illuminated on the far ends of this barren landscape. And one of my favorite details is actually getting up close, you see just how broad the brushstrokes creating this character are. It's almost the suggestion of lots of shapes that from a distance look like a highly rendered, almost photograph of a dragon, but up close you can see, I mean, we've got those spines at the top and they're just quick shapes and brush strokes, and it all comes together so beautifully to really just create this living, breathing image of a dragon.
Yeah, and so many of those brush strokes, so many of those incredible details just play and like live in the darkness of this print. You've got like the cracking of the ground down there. Like you can tell that the dragon has come through here. It has lived maybe in this area, and I mean, I would hate like Mondays, right? To be this night.
To be the one guy on the battlefield who showed up to work on time.
Voluntold. Absolutely.
And this is available as a G-Clay, but you guys are seeing that canvas version, and I think the canvas and that rough material really gives it a fantasy quality as well. I mean, canvas is a material that you think of in high fantasy, and so you've just got this beautiful textured reproduction here of an original piece.
Yeah, again, absolutely beautiful. The Dragon's Breath by Greg Rutkowski, available right now, side.show/art. We're not done. We're moving into maybe someone that could take on that dragon a little easier, I'd say.
Yeah, we're going from high fantasy to high tech. We've got a pair of Transformers art prints by artist Orlando Arocena. These are both sold separately, but look how beautiful they look together. I mean, we've got the good and the bad. We've got the Autobots and the Decepticons here for you. First up, we've got Optimus Prime, and then, of course, Megatron. Do we want to start with Optimus Prime?
Yes, please. And I love just sort of that grid behind it that you were saying is sort of like in that toy packaging from Gen 1 that we were, that we've sort of come to know and love. And then right up front, you've got Optimus in the iconic, that blue, that silver faceplate, and the red of that fire truck that is more known. I mean, it's so associated. You could see those colors anywhere you could see them on a Mazda, and you'd be like, oh, is that you, Optimus? It might be him. And then, of course, we've got some text going up the side. Like we've seen some text in art prints a little bit today.
Yes, and a very interesting choice by the artist to make some Japanese script. It contrasts really nicely with that kind of grid design. And as I'm sure we'll learn in the interview today at 2 p.m. Pacific with Orlando Arocena, his style is known as vector art. You guys might also know him under his artist tag Mexifunk, where he posts some amazing process videos of vector art. Vector art is shapes, and I mean, when you break all of these things down, they are all shapes and colors, but these are large kind of polygonal shapes that he puts together and layers together so expertly. I mean, we've got all those different curves and bends, and then we've got the screen tone dots for this piece, which is so much fun because it adds that almost printed comic book quality to it. And yet he has pieces of softness where we've got those lens flare elements on the eyes and on the kind of key metal points.
And with those eyes, I love that those eyes are like that bright, piercing blue. But when we get over to Megatron here, you've got the red eyes. So it's that flip and that dichotomy which makes them work so well together when you hang them next to each other.
Yes, because there are echoes of the same color palette throughout, but of course each of their characters have their own distinct color scheme. And unlike Optimus Prime, who is vibrant and fights for the side of justice, we've got Megatron, the much cooler, colder, calculating, it's almost cold metal feel to him with the silvers, but we do have those red highlights coming off of his eyes.
It is cold metal. He's giving us the blue steel look too.
Yes, he is. And then we've got the Decepticons logo here, again with that kind of classic Transformers toy packaging inspired background, which really puts the focus on these characters, gives it that Cybertronian feel, that kind of technological aspect. And again, throughout, we've got that beautiful screen tone, and I love where you can see the elements of right around here. The screen tones in the darker parts are those light colored dots, and then as soon as you get to lighter elements, they're the dark colored dots, but it so seamlessly blends into one cohesive image of these characters. Now again, this is limited edition. I believe both pieces are limited to 350. They are sold separately, so if you want to get both in your collection, you're going to want to make sure that you pre-order them together so you can have them displayed side by side, or you can pick your faction. I'm not going to judge. But
well, I'll judge.
Paul will judge.
I'll judge you.
Plenty for the both of us. Again, you can see that at side.show/art. Check those out by Orlando Arocena, Optimus Prime, and Megatron.
Now, those are two folks destined to duel for the rest of their life. But we've got some people mid-duel here.
Yes, caught in the action. This is the Ahsoka Tano and Darth Maul One Last Lesson print by Ian McDonald. And you guys may have seen also at sideshow.com/coming soon, we've got a diorama collectible
Yes.
of these two that is directly kind of made in dialogue with this art print. Ian McDonald also worked on concept for that, and that is a great idea if you take a look at that of how you could pair these pieces with your prints. But again, a beautiful standalone in any Star Wars collection.
Yeah, and I mean, even, you know, we will obviously talk about Darth Maul and Ahsoka Tano, but you do have, you know, sort of the picturesque, you know, location that they're in, that Mandalorian throne room that we're in, and then, you know, when you look at the statue, the diorama, you can actually get a really good view of that throne as well.
And in the diorama, as you guys might see at some point, there's actual elements of like the destruction of their battle as well.
Right.
So this is like, it's happening, and there's two different phases of the battle. But we're here to talk about art. This is such a great piece. This is up for pre-order on our website. So of course we've got the kind of dueling at their apex. They've both walked away from their respective paths, no longer a Padawan, no longer a Sith, but they are still kind of on opposite sides of the Force.
Absolutely.
And then we've got those kind of younger looks at them, almost the echoes, not quite a Force ghost, obviously, but the Force works in mysterious ways, and we see those echoes of where they came from.
Right.
We've got the younger, almost, I want to call this one Snips, you know? This is the younger version of her, and we can see the maturation and how much she's grown. And then again, Darth Maul, a man who believed in a very specific creed and then was left to die.
And you can tell, Amy, that this is, you know, well before, because look how happy he looks. He's still got his lower half. He's radiant.
Yes, if you close your eyes and imagine. But there's so much great action in this piece. Of course, we've got the dynamic leaping. You can see those places where the glass has shattered in the throne room, and they are about to clash. But caught in that moment just before the hit. And I think that's such a beautiful piece of this art, because you can imagine how it goes. You've seen the Clone Wars, but they're caught forever in this moment just before the clash.
You know, and just the different colors from the lightsabers. There's just so much to love about this, whether you're a Darth Maul fan, an Ahsoka Tano fan, or just a Star Wars fan in general.
Yes.
You've got to have this.
Two incredible characters from the kind of prequel and Clone Wars era, just really becoming household names and staples. Now, two other characters who are a little bit newer on the scene, who I don't think anyone doesn't know at this point. I'm sure your grandmother even knows who these are. At least might know who this little guy is. We've got the Din Djarin and Grogu Clan of Two by Jerry Vanderstelt, who is renowned for his fantasy artwork.
A legend.
You may have seen, especially very famous for Lord of the Rings artwork, and we've also done a few other pieces in the Star Wars galaxy with him, including Boba Fett the Mercenary. So no stranger to painting Mandalorian armor, but here we have the Mando himself, as well as Grogu.
And again, I love when artists will, you know, put something at the forefront, but they also sort of challenge you to look at all of the detail that is around these pieces. You've got the twin sons. You've got Grogu there holding something that looks a little familiar. I don't think he should be having that. We should probably hold on to that for him.
Just
and the Razor Crest.
Always going missing. Yes, and then of course the Razor Crest in all of its glory from season 2 of The Mandalorian. Still, you know, on its legs, on its jet engines. But I love the balance of this piece, because we've got not only two differing light sources, as you mentioned, those twin suns at different angles in the sky, just really bathing everything in a beautiful light. But they are, the duo, the clan of two, are kind of more seated off-center in this piece, which leaves a lot of really cool negative space as the sky kind of fades out. We even see flecks of stars in this piece. And we've got that nice kind of negative space that I love, that it's not overly detailed, but there's still a ton to look at. Like, all the rocks are fully rendered here.
Yeah, and you know, the rocks being fully rendered. One thing that I love that Jerry Vanderstelt has done in not only his Star Wars pieces, but in all of his iconic pieces, is he provides like such depth and never sacrifices like texture or detail. When you guys get this piece and you bring it home, you can see all of the detail and the texture on those rocks behind like Mando's foot there, or what the Razor Crest is standing on. Side.show/art, or check out the short link that is on the bottom of that is on your screen there to check this piece out right now.
And that is the canvas version you guys are seeing as well. Again, just such beautiful variations in the format that is offered for some of these pieces.
And you know, Amy, I love the Razor Crest so much. Let's take a look at it again.
So nice, we had to show it twice. Now this is one of the art prints that we distribute as part of our art print program. So not only do we have a chance to work with these artists to create new and original illustrations, or bring you variant cover recreations, or like the Frazetta piece, but we also distribute other fine makers of art prints. And this is from the world-renowned Thomas Kinkade Studios. This is The Cold Pursuit by Monty Moore. If you guys are caught up on The Mandalorian, of course, you guys know where this is
Should
from.
we have given a spoiler warning?
You know, I think there's been plenty
If
of
you haven't
time
watched
for
season
this.
1 by now, you don't want to watch it.
For this piece,
Yes.
yes. And this one is so much fun because where we just saw a very different kind of version of the Razor Crest, you know, not quite in action, in a very different landscape.
Oh, yeah.
We've taken to another part of the galaxy that is cold, and the brightness comes from the reflectivity of the snow. So again, we've got the Razor Crest kind of in shadow as it zips through this canyon with X-Wings in hot pursuit. But we've got the
Cold Pursuit.
Gosh darn it, Paul. Yes, you're absolutely right. In cold pursuit. But we've got that brightness from the snow.
Yeah, and the detail specifically, like on those X-wings, and then when it draws your eye forward, you can see Mando in there ever so slightly. He is in there. You can see the front of the Razor Crest, which is sort of not an angle that you get you don't ever get to just freeze the Razor Crest in a moment and appreciate all the detail, and you can imagine how many times Din Djarin has had to replace these pieces. I mean, it's just such a cool piece. And again, if you are a fan of the vehicles or the landscapes of Star Wars, like this is a must-have.
Yes.
And this does come in different sizes too.
Yes, and so I wanted to talk a little bit about the offerings that you'll find with Thomas Kinkade Studios. Also, something that I love that's just a totally random detail is, as opposed to what we have seen with the Sideshow prints, these prints all do come with the name and the artist and the Thomas Kinkade Studios notice at the bottom, the logo. That almost reminds me of, you know, when you go to a gallery and you see that little plaque that tells you what this piece is. Now, this is available unframed. There are, as Paul said, multiple sizes. You guys are seeing the largest size that is offered in. This is an incredible piece. You guys can kind of see, I mean, I'll stand, stand here for scale. You guys can see this is the large edition. Both sizes have differing edition numbers as well. This is a real kind of centerpiece, over the mantle type, something you build a collection around. And these are printed on premium heavyweight paper, and they are also, as a part of a limited edition, hand numbered, and they come with a certificate of authenticity, So these are highly collectible, and you can choose which size fits best in your collection, so you do have some options there. Now I believe we've got even more Mandalorian.
Even more Mandalorian. Because I honestly don't think, I couldn't get enough. I love looking at Din Djarin, and I love looking at Grogu. This is the Mandalorian, A New Direction, again, by our friends over at Thomas Kinkade Studios.
Yes, this is again by artist Monty Moore, who has once again taken on the world of the Mandalorian. But now we've got, again, our clan of two up front and center, as Clan Kryze has helped rescue them and given them a new trajectory. And we've also, I like that new direction, also kind of implies we've got people who are the old way of Mandalore and the new way of Mandalore kind of at odds with one another. So you can see that there. But what I love about this piece, with the Cold Pursuit, we had very blue and silver tones. And with the Mando, we usually see that very sleek silver Beskar.
Yeah.
But the sunrise or sunset we've got going on here is casting so many colors across this piece. You can see it in the water, but also you can see it across the Mandalorian's armor. It captures those pinks and greens. I mean, you've got the green reflective of Grogu here, and you've got the blues and yellows, and it gives a different life to the character who's usually so monochromatic in a way, and not in a bad way, but I mean, he's very cold and reserved.
It's the way.
This is the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, the way that they've captured the colors all throughout this piece, I just absolutely love that.
I mean, and you've got the wrinkling and the folding and the draping on Grogu's his clothes as well. Look, yeah, and then you can see the wrinkling on his little face that you just want to touch. Side.show/the child. You can pick that up right now. That was a pretty sweet plug. But no, we have the entire, and then, you know, not to be outdone here. I mean, we've got 3 Mandalorians who made an appearance very suddenly in the show.
Yes, but fans were very excited to see them, of course. We got the Night Owls, or Bo-Katan Kryze and her kind of clan there. Yeah, just a really fun moment from the show, captured again in that more colorful way than we usually see them, and just such a fun piece. Again, off-centered, so we got that really cool negative space. It is almost a full landscape. It's so beautiful. And again, offered on this premium heavyweight paper with long-lasting inks that outperform conventional press inks. These Thomas Kinkade pieces are beautiful, beautiful treasures, and there are multiple sizes offered for your collection.
Yeah, they are insane, and we are moving from the world of Star Wars, but we're staying in the world of Thomas Kinkade and the incredible folks there. This is Batman Gotham City by Thomas Kinkade Studios by artist Scott Smith.
And more than an art print, this is almost like a living I Spy game.
Oh, absolutely.
This piece is so incredibly detailed. It is kind of the essential thing for Batman fans, especially those who can't decide who their favorite rogue is or which era of Batman is their favorite.
They're all in here.
It is all here, actually. And for you comic book readers out there, this piece was made so recently that, check it out, Punchline, the newest kind of
she made it
big character in the DC universe, in the Batman mythos, Punchline is in this piece. So, but for those of you who maybe don't know who Punchline is, all your classic favorites are here too. I mean, I can see just almost every essential rogue throughout this piece, and the more that I look, I see more detail.
Absolutely, and you can hear, you can hear this piece. Scott Smith and the team over there did such a great job of providing, just different moments of, like maybe wind direction. You can also see the train that's right there behind Batman's cape. You can just hear it moving over those old, probably haven't been re-regulated tracks in a while. I mean, it's just, there's so much,
I can hear the manhole cover being
hissing.
lifted. Yeah, the steam coming out of the streets. And then my personal favorite rogue that was hidden in this piece, because she's very crafty and slinky. We've got Catwoman up here, but she's almost perfectly disguised among the bats that are kind of almost trailing up and out of Bruce Wayne here, because she's got those organic kind of curves of movement, like her legs here that kind of play with the shape of the wings. And I almost didn't notice her on the first glance, but then you see the kind of drop shadow as she's being spotlighted up on the top of the building.
Yeah, just a wonderful piece. And again, look at this small detail over here. Gotham City Jewelry, established 1939. I wonder what that's probably not an Easter egg.
Everything has a little bit of meaning in this piece, and it's just so much fun, something you could spend forever looking at. But we do have even more art prints to show you guys, so we're not going to spend forever. But we're going to jump over a little different kind of
We're late.
Mad Hatter
very
situation.
Important art print. I wish that rhymed.
I'm sorry.
It didn't rhyme.
We'll workshop it in post. But for those of you who like a little bit classic Disney, this is a very, very bright tea party scene. Of course, almost capturing kind of the entire story of Alice in Wonderland in a slightly non-linear fashion.
Yep.
I mean, for such a dizzying movie in and of itself.
I mean, and Amy, we've been doing this for so long. How good does that cake look?
I know.
Oh,
I mean,
my
I could go for a spot of tea right now myself, and then maybe afterwards we'll hit the croquet fields. But this piece is so much fun. The fireworks make me think of Disneyland. You know, like we've got the castle in the back from Alice in Wonderland, but the fireworks I just want to drop everything and go to Disneyland right now.
And again, so many details on this piece. Again, if you are a fan of Alice in Wonderland in whatever iteration, the book or maybe some of the new films or the classic animated, there is something in here for everyone. And I love that this piece has so many vibrant colors that I love when an artist can still make like the light illuminated.
Yes.
It may seem, like a no-brainer, but it's just a cool detail, and it allows the rest of the light to sort of fall naturally on this piece.
Yes, and so this is a great collection centerpiece, maybe if you yourself are a Disney enthusiast, but it also makes a perfect unbirthday gift for all of your Disney-loving friends, because they have so many of those unbirthdays.
Yes.
So there's no better time to jump on that than getting this piece. And I love that they got the pencil birds up and over here. Like, I mean, that's just such a cute detail. And all of your Wonderland favorites are in this piece.
Oh, they absolutely are. You got the Hammerhead Cheshire Cat. This is the Disney Mad Hatter's Tea Party by Thomas Kinkade Studios. Again, everything side.show/art, or there should be a short link right now on your screen. Well, everyone, there comes a point where you go to an art gallery, perhaps, and you've lost your friend to their absolute favorite exhibition. Luckily, though, I think I know where Amy is. Michael, let's head that way. Without fail, of course, she's at the Critical Role installation.
I'm sorry, you guys made me wait the entire gallery show to get a closer look at these pieces, but I love them so much. I mean, for those of you who don't want to split the party, this is the entirety.
For the first time ever, we've had it laid out.
Of the Mighty Nine portrait series by artist Sam Hogg. Now, importantly, these are sold as a complete set.
Yes.
Again, if you can't bear to split up this adventuring party. I mean, we know what happened when they did split up, but you guys can get these all individually as well if you want to pick and choose. And what you guys are seeing is another format we haven't featured yet in this show. This is the woodblock prints.
Oh.
This is a newer offering from Sideshow Art Prints. They are so much fun because not only, I mean, all of these prints are so versatile and come with hanging hardware installed, so you can just choose where they go on your wall. But these woodblock prints have an added feature. They're stackable.
Oh.
And you guys can kind of see here they are balanced on these risers, but if you really wanted to, you could stack these on a bookshelf, maybe on a gaming table. We've got all 8 prime members of the Mighty Nine, plus an original, the Hands of Fate piece, kind of representing the guiding force that carried them through their campaign.
Now, Amy, I'm going to speak with the audience here. Maybe we don't all know as much about Critical Role because it's specifically this campaign, because there's quite a bit, right? It's only like 500 hours.
You know, only 500 hours, and it is the newer of the 2 finished campaigns.
Right.
So, you know,
So let's go clockwise here and start with Ford, which we also have displayed beautifully in front of that statue as well. And maybe run us through briefly who some of these characters are and maybe some of the details that are in these prints up in those corners.
Yeah, of course. These are also offered as G-Clays, so if you don't want the woodblock version, you guys are seeing here, we've got Ford, who is the kind of charismatic, occasional high seas captain when needed, when the team heists a boat and renames it, of course. These are based on Art Nouveau portraiture, so you guys will see it's a lot of circles, a lot of beautiful shapes, kind of that Alphonse Mucha style. Lots of really cool circular elements packed to the brim with Easter eggs. I mean, I could go for hours, but I won't. But Sam Hogg has done just such a beautiful job at incorporating all of their unique elements. And of course, Ford has that nautical ocean theme to him. So we see other pirates, that ship, and the eyes of his mysterious warlock patron.
And I love also before, I mean, we would be remiss to leave with that. We said there's no statues, it's all art.
Right.
But look how great that statue is. It really puts you, because you said he's nautical and he's got that sort of semi-charismatic, or just with that sweet beard that he's got there. You can see a different, or is this an earlier version of him or a later version? Because he doesn't have the beard.
Yes, so if you are in the midst of watching this show, I mean, there are official costume designs for the characters. These prints all represent their kind of highest level, almost latest, the last official costumes.
The most OP.
Yes, pretty much. But there are a couple of spoilers you'll find in this, so turn your eyes away if you haven't finished Mighty Nine and don't want any spoilers. But yes, the statues we've done are their kind of mid-campaign, maybe level 10 looks.
Okay.
He's even got barnacles on the statue, though.
Nice.
And you guys can see that unboxing on our website. Now, I want to jump over to Caduceus, who is one of my favorite characters. First of all, check those colors out. I love that kind of teal with the pink and purple. Those are some of my absolute favorite colors.
And that red really pops on this character
Yes,
a
and
lot.
of course, he's a very calm, contemplative soul, but he's also very kind of based in the grave and death and kind of death positive, if you will. And so he's got those kind of insects. He's got his tea with the kind of teacups have like the skulls on them.
That gold brooch that he has too is really cool.
Yes, representative of his kind of faith in nature and the kind of goddess of nature. Just so much fun stuff going on in this piece. And you guys can see, again, some of those scenes. And the entire Clay family got snuck in there. It's just a really cute family photo.
It's like Cheaper by the Dozen, sort of.
Pretty much. I mean, and they've all got C names, so it just gets very confusing.
Oh, so exactly like Cheaper by the Dozen.
Very confusing. Now, this portrait, some of you, if you haven't finished the series, may not recognize. You might want to turn away. But we do have Veth, who is the group's thief. She is very crafty, resourceful. She loves explosions. I mean, there's an entire corner of the piece that's just explosions. But she was formerly not the Brave, who was a goblin. And so we see kind of this evolution of her journey. And this is a later version of her when she was cursed. And then they uncursed her because that's what friends do.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so
Now,
she's got that beautiful, almost her winter wear
The
outfit.
audience can't see, but I'm raising my hand
Yes,
in
Paul.
this lesson here. I've got 2 questions. One, is she some form of royalty? Because it almost looks like she's wearing this crown, sort of, unless she just wants to look like super cool.
No, yeah, she's not royalty. She's a very kind of humble character from very small origins. But that is her winter wear outfit. They kind of did a little bit of splurge to go in the colder regions of Exandria and Wildmount, and so that was her kind of reindeer.
Me
horse.
next.
Yes,
Me next.
Paul.
What is the significance of that green? You see, like under her eyes, I just noticed. I mean, I didn't just notice, but more prominently, it's on a lot of these. Like that color is super prominent.
Yes, and you'll actually see this come up in a couple other characters similarly. That is a tattoo she got
Nice.
because there was an episode where a couple characters wanted to go get magical tattoos, and that was a charisma boosting tattoo. It makes, it's a great conversation piece, and it makes people want to talk to her more and get
The
away
only
with
reason I got my tattoo, to boost my charisma.
Yes, and then up next we've got Molly Mock, Long May He Reign, the only character
favorite.
in this series to be looking directly forward.
Oh.
Everybody else is kind of looking off to the side, and you can pair up some of the people who go together and they're looking at each other, but he's the only one looking forward, kind of representing the weird break the fourth wall nature of his
So that's what I was
character.
going to ask. Is that representative of that campaign? That's
Yes.
what Molly Mock does?
Yes, and he was a trickster. He was just a charlatan, and they lost him very early in the campaign. That is less of a spoiler than the Veth thing, but they've got lots of symbols of his circus life, and then also the kind of evolution of the character when he came back in different ways that I won't fully spoil for you, but just so much beauty. And then his peacock tattoos are all over the piece as well.
Now, who's this here with the wonderful hair?
Next to Molly Mock is Yasha. That is my favorite character. She's a fallen angel, and this kind of represents her maturation, and the white streaks kind of represent the goodness coming back, or the kind of overcoming the darkness in her past. She is an angel. You guys can see some of the wing designs, and she worships the Storm Lord, and so you got a lot of cool lightning and stuff there. But we do get that green that carries through a lot of these pieces with the flower that she holds, and she's she lost her wife and would press flowers in her diary to kind of leave at her wife's grave, and so she had those flowers for her.
And then, like, to the complete opposite of that character, this character's almost like Cotton Candy.
Yeah, so
like
we got
Cotton Candy incarnate.
super goth to the cutest little trickster there ever was. She was supposed to be a healer. She had no interest in healing people, but this is Jester. She is the most kind of spunky member of the group. You can see her hamster corns. And this piece, the Critical Role team really wanted to reflect that Jester is an artist, and so she's got her paintbrush. She kind of draws on things everywhere they go, even if it's defacing with graffiti. And you can see all of her baked goods there, and some key moments that came into play through her life, as like tricking an evil hag with a baked good, with the offering of a baked good.
And you can see those bees on that bag. I know where those bees on the WandaVision print came from.
Yeah, we got a couple bees in the studio, yes, and actually the bees kind of relate to Caduceus as well. So there's a lot of different ways you can pair these characters off in the collection. Just super, super fun piece. I love her, and yeah, she's just vibrant. Candy colored. And then we have Caleb, who's kind of the essential wizard, the spellcaster. You can see a lot of his runes and magic shapes throughout here.
We all need a wizard.
Yes, and we've got his, just in case you didn't know he was a wizard, he's got a book to study magic, but he's also got his familiar, who is Frumpkin the cat, seen in a couple of different forms there. Again, just so many amazing details, and he's skilled in not only fire magic, so we see that kind of orange, but the magic of dunamancy, which is the manipulation of potential. Dunamis is like a philosophical concept of potential. So this man can
That's
literally
a slippery slope there.
This man can literally change reality with his magic, and so that is reflected in this piece. And then we've got at the last main team member, we've got Bo, who is the martial artist, throwing stars. Her own fists are on this piece because those are lethal weapons that she is armed with at all times. There are some fun Easter eggs in this too. Crazy one that I want to point out, and I don't know if it'll show up here. This owl is named Professor Thaddeus. He's a pet of hers. But Professor Thaddeus has the same eye colors as Yasha, that green and purple.
Oh yeah, sure does.
They are a perfect pair, and the Yasha and Bo pieces are looking at each other, or looking in complementary directions, so you can pair them together because they are girlfriends and they are fabulous. But yeah, we've got all
just
of her.
more of that green, that color that we're seeing that was on Veth, like that tattoo on Yasha, Molly Mock. I mean, I love that. It just sort of carries over. It does unite them as like a guild.
Yes, such a great group, the Mighty Nine, a name born of a joke because they kept rolling nines at their tabletop. But then, of course, the kind of encapsulating force, the final print in this series, which makes a great centerpiece if you want to surround it with the party. We've got the Hands of Fate as a little wink, wink, nod, nod to someone who leads the adventure.
That logo in the middle of those hands is also what you're going to get on the bases of these statues. What is that?
That is the official Mighty Nine monogram. So you can see the M and then the N and the sword, and kind of represents their guild. And you know, it's what they get embroidered on fancy handkerchiefs and whatnot. You've got a symbol representing each of the characters, and then in the corners you've got natural 20s and natural 1s, which represent the epic highs and lows of an adventure, the best and
it's like
worst.
over that land map too. That's really sick.
Beautiful official map of Wildemount there, and
wow.
we don't need to go over it in detail, but there are important landmarks even on the map there. So if you are a fan, you'll absolutely want to check out every single detail, because I can guarantee you, I didn't even touch the surface of what is going on in these pieces.
This was the crash course.
Yeah, this was your crash course, Critical Role 101. These are so beautiful. Again, available as an entire portrait series. You can get all 9 together as unframed G-clays, framed G-clays, or these woodblock prints, or you can cherry pick and choose your favorites. You know, if you want to, if you play favorites with these guys, like who could play favorites with them?
Okay, I mean, it's a lot of information.
Yeah.
Put it in an email.
I'll send you the podcast.
I'll get to it.
There's a whole podcast.
I promise. I've known you for 3 years. I'll do it. I promise.
I trust you.
Now, I mean, there's a lot of stuff here.
Yes.
We had so many. We went over a ton. I mean, you know, once we put our bid in, right, we'll pull our truck up around. Do you have a favorite? What are you taking home first?
I mean, if it wouldn't take me forever to try to get out of here with those amazing Mighty Nine prints, the one I think I'm most obsessed with is that Greg Rutkowski Dragon's Breath piece, because it's not tied to a fandom, it's an original fantasy piece. It could fit in so many different collections, and I know just the place, which is over my mantle. Yeah. What about yourself? Which piece would you take home?
You know, I was looking at everything and thinking, like, where would I put it and why would it mean, like, what would have the most significance? I think I'm taking that Joker piece home, the Joker Clown Prince of Crime by Marco Mastrazzo. And, you know, I love the colors, I love the Joker, I like the villains of DC the most, probably.
And that canvas version specifically.
Specifically, I'll just take that right off the wall. But also, it reminds me of the death screen on, like, the Arkham games.
Oh,
when he like comes in and he like laughs at you. That's what that reminds me of. So yeah, that's what I'm taking home, just to remind me that death is ever present. So
I mean, the Banshee could also do that for you, but there are so many of these amazing prints and more.
I'll take them both.
So many, yeah. We'll get the stickers on the walls, our private gallery showing. We are, you know, distinguished patrons of the arts. But again, we've worked with so many of these amazing artists. So if you like what you see and you want to see what other pieces these artists have done, if you go to side.show/art, we do have a dedicated artists page where you can see all the Frazetta pieces we carry, all the Olivia pieces, all the Thomas Kinkade pieces that we carry.
Absolutely.
You can break it down by artist or by fandom.
And again, we wanted to, you know, there's so very many people that we'd love to thank. But before we do that, remember, we still are in the middle of an event. Go to side.show/Expo22 while we are, again, at the very tail end of this.
But there's still live streams to be enjoyed today.
There are. We have an interview with the artist behind those incredible Optimus Prime and Megatron pieces, Orlando Autocina, or Mexifunk. That's at 2 p.m. Pacific. And then at 5, we have the wrap-up show, wrapping up the whole, where, I mean, I don't really know how to explain what happens on that show. You're just going to have to tune in and watch that show.
It is that Sideshow show, which I think is a perfect encapsulation. What show is it? Oh, it's that Sideshow show.
Yeah, so that's at 5 p.m. Go to side.show/geek group. There'll be giveaways, there'll be shenanigans, but I'll be more dressed up. I'll have my top hat on as well.
Oh yeah, this was casual. This was Casual Friday for us in this beautiful art gallery.
We just threw this on.
Now there are so many people to thank. This is a presentation we've never gotten to see before, the official Sideshow gallery space here. Just a beautiful setup. Thank you guys so much. Cameraman or producer Sam on the switchboard. We've got Guy who helped set and hang these up. We've got cameraman Michael who's been following. He's been your eyes for you. Ben and producer Alan for putting this whole setup together and really letting us immerse ourselves in a beautiful gallery.
Absolutely.
I can hear just the easy listening music behind.
Yes, there's tons of Enya going on. You just can't hear it right now. But seriously, there are so many people to thank that made this all possible. Most importantly, thank you all so much for watching. Seriously, we have the best job in the world, and we've done very well. Look how fancy we're dressed. But seriously, thank you all so much for watching and for hanging out with us. Go to side.show/art. Please bookmark that page. That's where we're going to have all of our new art prints constantly. Not even just after the event ends today, but forever and always. So seriously, thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you very soon for that interview at 2 p.m. But most importantly, Amy,
Don't forget to let your geek side show.
See you later, everyone.